Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody's well. First of all, what I want to say is sorry for the delay there. We had a wee bit of an emergency. Stuart freaked it up. But we're here anyway. Do you know something? My glasses are sitting about. I don't even know where they are. I didn't get a chance to do anything. Just hold on, bear with me for 2 seconds. Hold on. No, don't know where they are, but sure, I can manage without. I can see. I will manage. But I hope everybody's okay. Hello, everybody on Facebook, and hello, everybody who probably will come in on YouTube. There is people watching on YouTube, but they haven't commented. Don't forget, folks, before we start tonight, I am going to do a roll call, but I will not comment. I will not call your name if you don't comment. Normally, when we're talking about sensitive issues like this, we especially do this because sometimes people just like to sit in the background and listen, because it is a very, very sensitive issue that we are covering tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight into the chatter house here on Facebook and see who's in. So let's see who's in. Okay. Straight through the door was Michelle McGrogan, our Miss Chatterhouse herself is in. Sam Davison's in. I can't see down here. I don't know where my glasses are. Sam Davison is in. Hi, Stuart. Catherine Playfair. Are we reading the people out who's commented now, folks? So if you want to be mentioned, please comment. Catherine Playfair's in. She says, good evening, everyone. Jackie McFarlane's in. Hiya, Jackie. And if one day I should become. Sam saying hello to everybody. Emma Doherty's in. Nice to see you, Emma. And Sam. That's it so far. YouTube's quiet at the moment, but you know YouTube, everybody usually comes in late. My glasses are somewhere and I don't know where they are. But anyway, right. Well, hope you are all okay, and I hope you are all well. Right. As you know, tonight, this is... It's not a subject that people like to talk about, folks. And as you know, we are running this appeal at the moment for the Sans Charity. Basically, the Sans Charity is a charity which is there to get people support for, unfortunately, some babies are born into this world and they're not alive generally. Some babies are alive for a while and unfortunately pass away. It's just the Sans deal with all types of bereavement of young babies, basically, and giving the families support and what they can do through the bereavement. There's Minnie Diamond, CBE in as well. It's a very, very sensitive subject. But if anybody was a member of the old Natter House, we had Stephen Guy here one night, and Stephen Guy was the coordinator of the Sans Charity for Northern Ireland, but he is officially retired today, which I seen in the Facebook today. Phyllis is in as well. And Stephen actually came here to tell his story about his experience, because obviously he lost a child, and that's how he was introduced to the Sans Charity, and he actually became part of the Sans Charity. And now, unfortunately, he is now gone. And I just spotted my glasses. Just bear with me. Hold on. So, Harold. So, unfortunately, Stephen was made. I don't know how charities do this or anything, but apparently, Stephen was made redundant and he's no longer a member of the Science Charity anymore. And I think it's actually broke his heart that he's not there anymore. So, I was actually speaking to him today. Kai Ferguson's in. Hi, Kai, and Phyllis is in as well. So, tonight, folks, yes, as I was saying, Stephen was saying that night, the problem with this topic and this life experience that some people unfortunately have, because it's so sensitive, a lot of people suffer and a lot of people's bereavement, I suppose it's going to be bad anyway, but the problem is because it's so sensitive, nobody talks about it. And what we're going to hear now from this person who I'll introduce you to in a moment, years and years and years ago, it was worse. Basically brushed under the carpet, you know. Kai says, sorry, I'm late, just back in from school. And Minnie Diamond says, oh, my wee mummy went through as well. Thank you so much for bringing it up. And that's what we do here. You know, this is why we're doing it. So, right. Now, bear in mind, the girl I'm going to introduce you to is Donna. And I know Donna. I've known Donna. I knew Donna since she was a wee girl. And Donna is actually coming to tell us her story. Donna actually approached me to tell her story, to let you see how things were compared to what's maybe on offer today. And it's not it's a very, very difficult subject. And it's a very, I actually heard the story because Donna and I were speaking the other day, and it was quite a difficult thing to go through. And I'm not just talking about the loss of the loss of the child, but also the aftermath, you know, of no support and whatever. So Donna approached me and she says to me, sure, could I come and tell my story? Because Donna actually tried to do this before a long, long time ago and didn't really get anywhere. And I really do appreciate her coming to do this tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Donna up now and I'm going to introduce you to her now. As you know, the Charterhouse is quite relaxed. I've told her that, and she'll be fine. Our Donna's will do okay. So I will bring her forward. So what do we say? Here she comes. Here's our Donna. I'll bring her up. I'll bring you. Hold on, Donna. Put your mic on. I'll bring you up small first, and then I shall bring you up. How are you, Donna?
I'm good. Sure. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad. As you heard me saying there before I brought you on, we discussed this the other day.
Yeah.
And it actually took us a good bit of time going through it because, and I was like, well, so okay, I love my wee mummy to talk. Okay, man, ain't no problem. So what we're going to do is, Donna, we're going to go back, and if you feel uncomfortable, and as I said to you before, if you feel uncomfortable, you need to stop. We can take a break. We can come back. I can take a break and whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
But you did well the other day, and as you can see, you don't even think anybody else is here unless I read something out. But I want to read something out very quickly. Emma says, thank you to those who has come forward with their story of what they went through. I just can't do it yet. Because this is the case. Before we go into your story, Donna, there is so many people out there. This has maybe happened to you a long time
Exactly.
ago. They're still going through it. And they've had no support. And
they'll go through it the rest of their lives. You know, it never leaves you. It will never leave.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a parent losing a child, you know, a parent should never outlive their children, but it happens far too much.
Okay. Well, what I'm actually going to do, Donna, before we start, I'm just going to put my earphones on so everybody in the group can hear you better because I forgot to do that too. So just bear with me. Okay, that'll be better. Everybody should hear you. And Minnie says, one of the members says, hello, Donna. Okay, Donna. So let's go back to where it all began, basically. So take us back to where everything started. Obviously, you found out you were pregnant.
Yeah.
You went through your pregnancy. So you take us very slowly from there, and we'll work through stage by stage.
So from I found out I was pregnant, you know, it was a very straightforward pregnancy. No concerns, nothing. I was due date. Holly's due date was the 5th of December,
Okay.
and she was born on the 1st of December. But I'd sort of, you know, first of all, when I found out I was having a girl, I'd wanted to call her Caitlin.
Mhm.
And then I sort of thought, no, Christmas baby, Christmas name.
Mhm.
And she was born, as I said, 1st of December. So I named her Holly.
Okay. So she was actually born on the 1st of December. By
Yeah.
the way, and if you see me looking down, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just watching what these things are saying here, so I know to go back because they'll join in as we go along. So if
Yeah.
you see me looking down, I'm not ignoring you. I am listening to you. So Holly was born 1st of December. No any issues, Donna? Any issues? Anything?
When I was in labour, her heart had kept dipping.
Okay.
So the heart rate was lowering, and you know there was only a junior doctor that was on that evening in the Lagan Valley, and it was just no, everything's fine. So from my waters broke until the child was born was 17 and a half hours, which isn't anything, you know, unusual, because your first, they always do tell you your first labour is always going to be your longest.
Mm-hmm.
But when she was born, everything was fine. Stayed in the hospital for the 3 days, as it was back then, and got home. No issues, no concerns, absolutely nothing. You know, she was meeting all her wee milestones, and because obviously the midwives come out.
Yes.
Every day, whenever you're discharged, they would come out, and you know, then the health visitor would take over and things like that.
Yes.
There, so there was absolutely no issues.
Okay.
So, you know, there was nothing to indicate that there was something wrong with her, which, you know, with sudden infant death, there isn't. You know,
Okay.
it literally is the case of the baby goes to sleep and just does never wake up again, and they don't know why.
So, as you say there, everything went okay. She
Mm-hmm.
was home. She was reaching, the health visitors were coming out, the midwives were coming out.
Yeah.
She was meeting all her expectations, if you want to say that. There
Yeah.
was no sign of any problem at all. So, let's go to the fateful day then. So, when did this all happen? When was this, Donna?
Well, Holly was born on the 1st of December, and
yeah,
after I'd got me and the child had got discharged, we were staying with my daddy, because he would have got up and he'd have helped in the night and all. And but 23rd of December, I went back to my house to stay because
Yes,
people
yes.
were coming to leave Christmas presents off, all the rest of it. And obviously the Christmas tree was up. The whole living room was littered with congratulations on the birth of your daughter. And, you know, so people were coming to leave presents and gifts off. And I had said to her father, look, I'm going to bath Holly now. Then can you watch her for an hour? Even just an hour, just to let me get some sleep, because he was no use. That's why I stayed at my daddy's.
Right, okay.
But anyway, so I'd bathed the child, and my mum was actually on the phone to me, and it was just around about midnight, and my mum could hear, because Holly here, and my mum could hear, you know, cooing away, and that was okay. And I says, he's going to watch her here and let me go to sleep, and then I'll get up with her. But then the next thing, he was busting through the bedroom door, and that's what woke me. But I was sort of disorientated. Obviously, you know yourself, whenever you're woke up out of your sleep and you're like, what?
Can I just stop you for 2 seconds? Folks, I know you're commenting down there. I will come back to your comments. I just want, like, Donna, it's hard enough for Donna to do this. So I'll let her go through it, and then I'll go back through your comments. So I'm not ignoring you. So go on ahead, Donna. So you fell asleep.
Yeah.
Your partner at that time was with the child,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you were woke up. You were awoken.
Yeah, he'd bust into the room, shouting my name, and when he opened my eyes, you know, and then he had turned the big light on, as we all call it, and I was like, but as soon as I seen her, I knew, and I took Holly straight out of his arms and tried doing CPR, but I didn't know how to do CPR, you know. I know what I watched on a Saturday night when Casualty was on, and then I was on one hand, like, because he just, well, I assume it was shock. He just walked out the door and run down the stairs, and so I was on the phone to 999, like this, with my phone, trying to do CPR of what I've watched on a TV program, and right enough, the ambulance was there within a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
So let's just recap for a moment. So basically, you'd fallen asleep. Your partner at that time came in and woke you up. So obviously, he was made aware there was something wrong. He noticed she wasn't breathing. You know, he noticed it was a different cut. Come in, alerted you. You tried to do whatever you can, and the next thing was you didn't know basically what to do. It was only basically for what you seen on the TV.
Yeah,
you were doing your best. He was basically, the fellow was in shock. He walked off. Ambulance was called, and then the ambulance basically then came out.
Yeah, they had arrived, and they took her straight out of my arms and ran straight into the back of the ambulance, which obviously I followed them. And this is whenever the Lagan Valley was a fully operating hospital, which it should still be, but we'll not get into that. That's a different discussion.
No, absolutely. I agree with you.
So, and I can remember being so naive. Now, bear in mind, I was only 19 when this happened. So, you know, I was still a youngster.
Absolutely.
I can remember sitting in the back of the ambulance, and the paramedic, and he was trying to get tubes down her wee throat and all. And I said, she can't die. It's Christmas Eve. Nobody dies on Christmas Eve. You know, that's just how naive I was, you know, and because I'd never known anyone to have a baby that was born and then died for no reason. You know, you would have heard, you know, oh, such and such had a miscarriage or something, you know, but that was it. It was never, you know, there was never no mention. I'd never heard the term cot death. Never had I at this stage. And so it got to the hospital anyway, and we were in the relatives' room, and I had phoned my daddy. And I can't really remember phoning my daddy, but my daddy had answered the phone because he only lived in Beachland, so literally round the corner. And my daddy had said to me afterwards, you know, when he answered the phone, he says, all I can describe it is like a blood curdling wail down the phone. And it was, you need to get to the hospital. You know, and he told me way back then, you know, the sound that came out of you isn't normal. That's not a normal sound.
No.
And that sound will haunt me for the rest of my days. You know.
Yeah.
So it felt like we'd been in the relatives' room for a long time. And then her father had turned around and had said to me, I must have rolled over on her. I've suffocated her. And I can remember like sort of gripping him, going, what the fuck do you mean? You know, I'm sorry. I don't know if we're allowed to swear or.
It's all right. It's okay. Go on ahead. It's okay. It's all right. We're on that good level. You know what I mean?
And I was like, what the fuck do you mean? You know, what, you know, have you killed my child? Like, what has gone on here? Because, you know, and then the rest of the family had came. My daddy had went and got my mummy.
Your mummy's actually here. So she is as well, just to let you know.
That's all right. My daddy had went and got my mummy. And the only times that my mummy never took her phone to bed with her was the night that I went into labour and the night that the child died.
Mm.
So my daddy had went and got my mummy. I'd phoned my granny and I'd left a voicemail on her house phone because, you know, the old school didn't have a mobile.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I had said something along the lines, look, Granny, it's Donna. We're at hospital with the child. She stopped breathing, but there's more. And I can't tell you on a voicemail.
Yeah.
But when my daddy had left, no, just as my daddy had arrived at the hospital, because I can remember saying to her father, look, she must be okay, because you know it felt like we were there for hours.
A long time, yeah. So obviously there was something happening, yeah.
And I was like, she must be okay, because they would have been in by now. And then the next thing, the door opened and the two doctors walked in. And just as, you know, they had pronounced her dead, my daddy had walked in behind them. And I can remember just hitting the dirt and my daddy lifted me off the floor. And like, you know my daddy yourself, you know.
Yes, I do, yeah.
He was a man's man.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And he was like, look, I'll go down to your mum's house and I'll get your mum. So they told me that I could go and see her, but her father was like, no, I can't go in there. But I was scared to go in on my own.
Mm-hmm. And
I don't know why I was scared to go in on my own, but I was scared to go in on my own because I'd never experienced death, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And when my mummy came, then the police and all had arrived because obviously it was a sudden death.
Yes.
And there was a policeman, a policewoman, and I can remember them saying to me, can you tell us what happened? And I was like, is that not your job? You know, because she went to sleep. And here we are. Like, I genuinely haven't a clue what's happening here. And they'd asked me to go in and formally identify Holly. And I couldn't do it. So my mummy had went in.
Okay.
And then I had said to my mummy, because I was sort of a wee bit scared of going in because I didn't know what I was going into. And so whenever my mummy had come out and I said, is she okay? You know, does she look okay? You know, and my mummy had said yes. So I went in with my mummy then to see her, and they just let her on the big hospital. Like, she was only a tiny wee thing anyway. And she just looked like a wee doll. And I can remember lifting her and trying to walk out with her. You know, I was like, no, should you feed soon? I'm going home. But obviously I couldn't.
No.
You know, and then all the rest of the family had started arriving. My uncle Andrew, he was only home from the army. And I can't remember if it was Iraq or Afghanistan. It was one of the two anyway. And he'd got her a beanie bar, like a wee pink bar, and had her name on it. And I can remember thinking to myself, where the hell did he find that in the middle of Afghan or Iraq, and so that was obviously because he was away serving his country. That was the first time he had met her. And whenever my granny had come in, my granny had said to me, it happened to me too. And I can remember sort of looking at her, but then thinking to myself, right, I can't focus on that information at the minute because I'd never ever heard about that.
No, absolutely.
And then the coroner had obviously arrived. And I can remember just then, because obviously, you watch TV programs, anyone who's dead goes in a body bag. And I was like, I can't let you put my baby in a body bag, but they didn't. They brought away Moses basket and stuff. So they took her down to Foster Greens because obviously post-mortem and all had to be
In case
done.
anybody doesn't, I hate saying this, but in case anybody doesn't know, folks, Foster Greens down where they do autopsies, it's where the morgue is. It's a horrible subject, but that's where it is. Just want to let you know. So they took her down. They did did they do an autopsy? Yeah.
They done an autopsy. They have to because it was a sudden death.
Yeah.
And because it was a sudden death of a baby, and rightly so.
Absolutely.
And, then.
So when was this done? What date was this? What date
This
did this
was
happen?
Christmas Eve, 2001.
Christmas Eve, get into Christmas Day, basically. Then.
No, well, it was the early hours.
Christmas
Eve.
Christmas
Yeah.
Eve. Okay.
So then the CID and stuff were in my house because it was treated then as a crime scene. Because they were trying to determine.
Must be horrible to go through, because I would say to myself, maybe I'm not reading your mind or anything, but I'm sure you said to yourself, my God, I hope they don't think, I hope they don't treat me like a criminal here or anything, or hope they don't think I suppose they're only doing their job and they have to do it. But
yeah,
I'm sure
they're doing their job.
Where your mind was at that time, at this stage, you'd been through this.
Yes,
you're still obviously numb, you're shocked and whatever, and this is all going on. You haven't had time to process. You haven't had time. It's just been month, you know. Okay, so I interrupt. I'm just trying to get the points out so everybody sees what it was like. Donna,
Yeah.
So CID came. They were at the house.
The CID were at the house. They were at the house. I don't know. You've said my mum's on. Maybe she can remember better than me.
She's on YouTube there.
Maybe
Elaine. Yeah.
Maybe she can remember better than me. But the CID were at the house, and I think we had walked out of the house and we didn't have a key or something. I can remember something about a key. I can't.
So can I just stop you for a minute, Donna?
Yeah.
I just said there, I'm letting Donna speak for a wee while. I am going to go back over the comments again, but I just don't want to interrupt Donna while she's doing this, because it's hard enough as it is. But I will go back through your comments, so I'm not ignoring you, please. Donna, would you mind if I just read a couple of these out here, what people are saying?
Go ahead. Sure, obviously.
Because people are saying, Minnie Diamond was saying there, about Anne Diamond is still fighting about what you're going through and talking about, because it's absolutely ridiculous that they do not recognize baby's death. It's heartbreaking. Everybody's Donna's saying absolutely heartbreaking. And they're basically just giving you support.
Yeah.
So right, you carry on then. Just want to keep everybody happy there.
As I was saying there, there is a few blank spots, obviously, from the hours straight after. I was in my nightdress. My daddy actually gave me a pair of tracksuit bottoms. Because obviously it was the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And he'd give me a pair of his tracksuit bottoms to wear. And, I can remember the CIDs. It was something about, my mum would maybe remember more, but it was something about the key, because we'd obviously in our hurry, we just left. and they needed the key to get in, otherwise they're going to have to break the door in. And I think they
Yeah,
ended up.
your mum just said here the CID had the key for the back door, but I don't know how they got it, to be honest.
Yeah, I can remember.
Yeah.
Being told that they'd went in the back door. So, you know, I genuinely didn't know, and I can remember that. And then I can remember we had to go to Bobby Morrison's. So then we went to Bobby Morrison's, and then me and my mum had walked up through the town to go to the way there's a christening gown shop on Castle Street.
Can I just stop you for a minute now, Don? Just at this stage, at any time, were you offered any support or anything or
No.
help from anybody? Or obviously, you know, we're doing this about SANS, which we're going to bring in very shortly. So you were offered no support. Did the doctors not say anything about, you know, bereavement, whatever? Nothing, absolutely nothing.
There was absolutely nothing. And Elaine will be able to verify, you know, my mum, sorry, I don't mean to say Elaine, but just because you said Elaine, so people know. My mum will be able to verify that there was not, even the police didn't say, look, there's this charity or whatever. Like, you know yourself, whenever you and I spoke yesterday, I was absolutely shocked to find out that SANS has been going since 1978.
I'm actually going to play that video in a wee minute to give you a wee break for a minute, and then we'll do the second part. I'll play that video. It's only a couple of minutes long.
But whenever you told me yesterday that it was gone from 1978, I just thought, what the actual fuck? You know.
I know.
Sorry. I keep swearing.
But as you know yourself, things probably, I hate saying in those days, it wasn't that long ago, but it
wasn't because, you know, it was like, see, I can remember like walking, I can remember being in Bobby Morrison's with my mum, and I can remember them even saying, you know, is it a Protestant or Catholic burial? And I was like, why does it matter? They're like, oh, but it does, you know.
So basically, you've lost your child. You went home. There's been a police investigation. You're straight down into the Undertakers organising that.
No,
you're straight. You know,
I can't. Sure, to be honest, I can't remember. My mummy will maybe remember more. I can't remember if we left the hospital and went straight to Bobby Morrison's or.
No, but what I'm trying to build up is this has all been bum.
Yeah.
And you're still just no time to process, no time for anything. Just, you know.
And then we went to Bobby Morrison's. Then he had said, yes, you need to get an outfit that you want Holly to be buried in. And his mummy had said, we'll go up. There's a shop in Castle Street.
Okay, Manny. No problem, Manny. Okay, sorry, Donnie. Yes, that's okay.
No, you're okay.
Sorry,
it does. Christening gowns. That was okay. So I can remember leaving Bobby Morrison's and walking through. And I think at this stage I was still in my nightdress and my Dolly's tracksuit bottoms. Like I can't remember. You know, it was literally, you know, it was that's how full on it was. And I can remember walking through Bow Street and seeing ones that I'd grew up and played with round in Beachland, round where my daddy had lived. Like, oh, Donna, congratulations, where's the baby? And I can remember just being like a robot going, she's dead, and walking on. And I can remember my mummy having to stand and say to them, look, it's, you know, it's literally only happened. And then when we were in the shop getting, and my mummy had bought a wee christening gown and the matching bonnet, and the woman in the shop being like, your wee one's going to look so lovely. And I can remember mummy having to explain, like, it's not for that. And then having to go back down to Bobby Morrison's and leaving that off. You know, it was like you were living in a dream. Like, nothing was real. Like, this isn't really
Done
from
is like
happening, you know.
it's just like a whirlwind.
Yeah,
It was just like a whirlwind, and as you say, obviously it just happened. People didn't know. This is the first time that people were seeing you in the street. It had
yeah,
just happened. You were still in a pair of tracksuit bottoms and it's whatever you were wearing.
manitis.
You hadn't even had you hadn't even got time to get changed from what happening. People
No,
are stopping you in the middle of the town. You're up bang gowns. You're in the Undertakers. You're doing this.
yeah.
I, I,
But
I
it was,
don't know.
it
I
wasn't,
just
you
don't know
know what
what
it
to
was?
say. I don't know what to say. You know.
It wasn't just me. It was the whole family, you know.
Mm,
And like I said to you yesterday, you know, it should be grandparents should be thought of, um,
mm-hmm,
uncles, auntie. It involves the whole family.
mm-hmm,
You know, it's not just mum and dad,
mm-hmm.
you know, and it was just so surreal. You know, even now, it'll be 24 years this year, looking back on it, thinking, what the actual fuck was that? You know, and then you could see the neighbours. There was one neighbour lived a couple of doors up from me, and she was a nosy old bitch. And she was out hanging out, you know, because we'd went back to the house, and the CID was everywhere. And I can remember that one of them saying, um, like asking for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or something. And I was like, right. And then that's when I'd opened the fridge, I could see all the child's bottles, because in them days you were allowed to make the bottles up, you know, and have them in the fridge. And then now they say, oh, you can't do that. You need to make them up as and when the baby needs it. It's all
Yes.
conflicting.
Yeah. Yep.
And I can remember just lifting the bottles and just throwing them and, you know, knocking the Christmas tree over and all,
Well,
thinking,
that's what I was. That's what I was just about to say. Because bear in mind, this was Christmas time. Bear in mind, all those congratulation cards were sitting there.
yeah.
All the baby presents were sitting there.
And then Christmas presents.
Christmas presents sitting there. I'm sure you could have seen it far enough.
But I went and stayed in my mummy's house. I couldn't go back.
Okay. Okay.
I couldn't go back to the house. My mummy was living down the road at the time. So I'd went and stayed down there because I just couldn't face going back to that house. You know, our Christmas Day was, we had to go to Bobby Marston's to see the child
Desperate.
in her coffin for the first time, you
Desperate.
know, and then she was brought back to mummy's house on the Boxing Day and then buried the day after Boxing Day, you know, and like the minister had come into the church. He knew that we weren't an overly religious family, you know, we didn't go to church and all that. And I can remember him saying, God does everything for a reason. And then there's a verse in the Bible, something about children. And he had said that verse. And I can remember just saying, can you explain to me why God wants my 23-day-old baby who hasn't had a chance to live, to have a life, to have her own wee personality, but yet there's rapists, murderers, all the wicked of the
I
day
know. I know.
walking this earth. So can you explain to me why God wanted my 23-day-old baby?
Unbelievable.
You know, and I can remember even then saying, you know, thinking about my granny saying it happened to her. And in all my, like I was 19 when this happened. And in all them years, I could never, ever, ever did my granny ever mention anything. And I can remember saying to her, what did you mean? And her telling me that the same thing happened to her. She says, now it wasn't clot death. My granny's blood, my mummy will probably better say, but I think it was granny was rhesus negative, and then if the baby is a different blood type or something, So that's what had happened to him. And
Mhm.
he was called Stephen, which is why my Stephen's called Stephen.
Mhm.
And I can remember telling me, and I was like, why did you know, I've never heard you speak about that before. And she was like, you don't talk about things like that, you know.
And that's part of the problem, Donna.
Yeah,
You know, when this happens, people don't talk. You know, and you know, it just Minnie says here. I've just seen there. When I was a child, I was because Minnie's mum experienced this. When I was a child, I was told that God was put in things, was put in charge of things. It was putting us to test us, but I don't believe it. You know, it was pushed. It was all, you know, even in your grandmother's day, which was even back further, it was all brushed under the carpet, and everybody had to brush themselves down and carry on. It doesn't work that way, you know.
see, when my granny told me what she had to go through,
Mm.
I actually, you know, even though I was going through that at that time, I actually felt, I wouldn't say, I don't know what word it is. It's certainly not grateful, but my heart broke for my granny because, you know, she wasn't allowed to hold her son, you know,
Desperate.
and in them days, you had to stay in the hospital for 7 days. You were in the hospital for a full week, and my granny had to stay in the hospital in the same ward as all these other new mothers with all their babies. My granny wasn't allowed. My granny wasn't allowed to bury her child. Didn't know where he was buried. Nothing. All my granny was told, you need to give him a name.
Because in those days, they didn't even see, when the baby died, they didn't even see the baby. They were just taken away.
Yeah, that's what they done, and it's absolutely
Shocking.
fucking disgusting. You
Shocking.
know.
Absolutely
So,
shocking.
you know, at the time, whenever my granny was telling me, whenever all this was going on with Holly and stuff, I suppose I didn't. It took me a while to sit and think about it all. You know, obviously I was going through my own trauma and trying to make sense of what was going on to me. But it wasn't until a good wee while later that, you know, I actually sat and thought about what my granny was put through, you know,
Mhm.
and it's absolutely fucking disgusting. You know,
It's
it
disgusting.
like look at like the way like I wasn't offered any help. Nothing. There was not a
Your mom,
thing.
your mum says your granny's child lived for 3 hours, and your granny never seen him.
Yeah, she wasn't allowed to.
No.
And that's absolutely disgusting. Do you know what I mean? And like I said to you yesterday, you walk around, now Holly's buried out in Blaris Extension, and you walk around there and see the amount of babies. And that's that's what really pisses me off. You know, it happens more than
Hmm.
what people want to admit, you
Hmm.
know. And I always talk about Holly. Then I can see some people it would make them feel uncomfortable. Well, whether you feel uncomfortable or not, I'm sorry, but my child
Your
still
child
existed.
was alive. She was alive. She's
Yeah.
alive. You know, she existed. She is a person. You know, absolutely. So, Donna, after Holly was buried,
Hmm.
still no support. Still nothing.
Nothing.
Nobody to talk to. What about the doctors?
Nothing.
Did they do anything for you? I know the
Um,
answer to this, but I'm doing this for a reason to let everybody hear. What about doctors? Did they offer you any advice about support, where to go, or
no.
anybody? No.
Doctors offered
Unbelievable.
me absolutely nothing. It was just here's antidepressants.
Antidepressants, medication. I would
And
have thought that. Yeah.
for years after, because I used to suffer bad with migraines, and I'd be going to the doctor. I need something for these migraines. Here's antidepressants. Your child died. You need and I was like, I don't need antidepressants. I need something to help my fucking migraines. I don't need antidepressants.
Hmm.
You know, yes, my child died. She's still dead. You know, she's not coming back.
No.
You know, but there was absolutely nothing, and that's why I was. like whenever you said to me yesterday that Sands is ongoing from 1970,
Well,
I was fucking furious.
I'm going to play this in a wee minute. But what I want to, yes, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play this wee video now. It's only 2 minutes long. Some of the members have seen it before, but it's just to remind everybody basically where Sands came from. It doesn't go into much what they do, but I know a bit myself now because obviously we're talking to Stephen and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is give you a wee bit of a break too for a couple of minutes, Donna, as well. So I'm just going to play this video, folks. It's only 2 minutes long. It's just a reminder of what the Sands, where they started, and basically what they sort of offer and what they plan to do in the future. So I have to mute your mic, Donna, but I'll
That's
take
okay.
you off. We'll both be off. So we'll be back, folks, in about 2 minutes. So here we go. Here we go.
'78, a group of bereaved parents came together to support each other and unite for better care. They became Sands, and the community they built, rooted in compassion and a drive for change, still unites and inspires us today. Sands is the UK's leading pregnancy and baby loss charity, connecting communities across all 4 nations through support and action. We are the bereaved parents and families, the dedicated volunteers and staff members, the passionate campaigners and healthcare professionals, the supporters, friends and fundraisers at our side. Together we speak up about baby loss, support one another to grow around grief, and work tirelessly to save babies' lives. Together we've achieved so much, but there's still more to do. That's why we're evolving, to better reflect who we are today, and to meet the changing needs of our communities. We asked what you wanted for the future of Sands, and thousands of you responded. So we listened, and together we're growing the Sands community, while staying true to our shared vision, a world where more babies' lives are saved, and anyone touched by pregnancy or baby loss gets the support they need. Because every story is different, every voice counts, and every experience matters. We are committed to doing whatever it takes to create change, for families, for care, for the future. Together, we save babies' lives and support bereaved families. To join our community, speak up about baby loss, or find out how we can support you, visit sands.org.uk.
Okay, folks, I'm just waiting for Donna to come back. She's just in a wee break there. Unbelievable. That's why, folks, I'm just waiting for Donna to come back. She's back. I'll bring you up in just 1 wee minute, Donna. That's why, folks, it's very important. What we're doing at the moment for this charity is so important. They help so many people. I explained to Donna a wee bit about what we had learned from Stephen that time, So I'm going to bring Donna back here again. What do we say? Okay, Donna, before I actually start, there's a couple of comments here. Sam says, it's so heartbreaking. And Minnie says, I'm so sorry to hear about, they were listening to the video there. She says her mum would have, would have really helped her. And Carrie says, I agree with what Donna is saying. There's so many children out in Belarus. I have two friends. I have 2 friends who have little ones out there, and one friend who has a baby sibling out there. And there's a baby, Seymour. There's a baby beside Daddy, where Daddy's buried now too. And Johnny says, I'm so sorry, I've been watching in and out. So sad and couldn't imagine the pain that you're going through. You did go through, and you still obviously still go through,
Yeah.
So Don, let's move forward a wee bit. I don't like skipping anything here, so let's move forward, right? With this experience with Holly, and what you went through with no support, basically, obviously, you had no support or whatever. How did this? Obviously, you did have children after this.
Yeah.
How did this affect you with this? Say, for instance, the first time you became pregnant, Dr. Holly had died, passed away. How did this affect you? Surely you had a reflection on it must have put a fear into you as well that this could happen again,
It did. Now, because I was diagnosed with polycystic ovaries when I was 16, so I was told
Okay.
that it was always going to be difficult for me to have children naturally.
Yes.
So, me being the stubborn bitch that I am, if you tell me that I can't do something, I'll do it with bells on it.
Like that. Yeah.
And so I'd obviously fell pregnant with Holly. And then after she had passed away, it was like, this is the best time, for you to get pregnant again, without worrying, are you going to get pregnant again? And so I'd sort of fell pregnant with Stephen right after Holly had passed away, because I knew if I didn't, chances are I wouldn't have been here, because I would have ended my life, and I didn't want to put
Mhm.
my daddy and my mummy through them losing a daughter, or the rest of the family. Do you know what I mean? I just knew.
Yeah.
So I fell pregnant with Stephen. And even during the pregnancy, the hospital appointments, there was never any mention of, like, because obviously it was in my notes in your green
Mhm.
folder, about Holly. There was never any, look, there's this service
We are
that's
aware.
available.
We are aware, or anything.
Yeah. There was nothing like that. And then they had told me that the Lagan Valley had told me that they were 99% sure that Stephen had Down syndrome.
Okay.
And that was on the Friday. And my mummy was actually with me for that scan. And they couldn't fit me into the Royal until the following Tuesday. So I had from the Friday to the Tuesday absolutely shit myself, thinking,
Sure you were. I'm sure you were.
like, I just must not, I just should not have children. The first one's died. Now they're telling me that this one's going to have Down syndrome, which again in itself isn't an issue, but it
No,
obviously,
but it's
anyone,
still a big shock to you.
yeah,
It's still a shock for someone to hear, and especially from what you had already been through.
yeah,
You know.
100%.
Mhm.
And then my mummy had took me down to the Royal then we were to go for an amniocentesis, which is where they stick a big needle in through your belly into the amniotic fluid. And the consultant had said, look, I'm going to do a scan first.
Mhm.
And he had done the scan and he had said to me, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your son. Your son isn't Down syndrome, which obviously was a big, massive relief, because I thought, right, okay, thank fuck for that. Something's
No,
going
I
right.
know. Yeah, but you still had that weekend to go through it, and you
Yeah.
originally told. But then again, I suppose there were maybe just making you aware that this could happen, and maybe.
Oh no, the Lagan Valley were 99% certain.
Oh, were they? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, 99% certain that Stephen was Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting induced with him,
Okay.
with Stephen, about 3.5 weeks early, because they had said that he was under £3, he wasn't thriving, and they needed to get him out. So they had admitted me to hospital to give me steroid injections to strengthen his lungs. And then I can remember I was sitting in the hospital bed, and I was like, hold on a wee second. Because it was going to be my birthday then on the 16th of September, and I was counting back the days, and they were wanting me to have him on the 13th. And then I realised that it was Friday the 13th, and I can remember pressing on the buzzer,
Mm-hmm.
and the nurse had come in and she was like, yes. And I says, here's me, I can't have this baby on Friday the 13th. Here's me, I can't do it. Because obviously, it's a fucking...
No, I understand. Yeah, yeah.
And she said to me, if you don't have this baby on Friday, there's a chance that this baby will not survive. So they were putting the fucking fear of God into you.
Mm-hmm.
And my mummy had happened to be on holiday at that time because obviously I wasn't due. And whenever Stephen was born, he was £5.10, and nothing wrong with him. He needed to go on under the wee UV lamp because he had a wee touch of jaundice.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
So, something else I want to highlight here, because I know you've been through Holly passing away, Stephen was born, and you actually mentioned something else to me when we were talking, and it was these monitors. Tell me about these monitors.
Yeah.
These monitors well, they were available. They are available, but they're not very available, I think, as that would be the case. So tell us about these monitors, which I think are actually very, very important, especially for someone like you who's been through what you've been through. So you tell us about these monitors.
So it was my health visitor, and I was lucky enough to have the same health visitor for all of my children.
Mm-hmm.
And she had contacted me, and she had said, look, there's this monitor that I can get for you from whenever the baby's born, meaning Stephen. And I said, right. I can't remember the official name of these monitors.
Okay.
But my mummy and all know what monitors I'm talking about.
So basically what these monitors do, Donna, is they monitor the baby's breathing, isn't that right? And if the breathing stops, there's an alarm would go off. Is that correct?
Yes. The monitor, it's about this by this. And they have these wee blue tubes that's attached to it. And then you stick the sensor onto the baby's belly.
Do these go on at night time?
No.
Or all the time?
It just depends on yourself, but personally, I had it on 24/7.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, brilliant. And only for the fact that I had that monitor, I never would have ever been able to relax. Never. Because I'd have just been, whenever Stephen was born, I'd have just constantly been awake, looking, making sure he was breathing, and the wires, now don't get me wrong, the wires can, obviously they get it's used and you have to change them every so often, but whenever they need changed, sometimes it can cause the alarm to go off.
Are they called outlet something, Donna? Because Kai says, are they called outlet ones or something they called? She says, I've heard of them. Should be more available for people in Donna's situation. It's also to help the baby and also help your anxiety as well, But they were available then for Stephen.
Yeah.
But what happened after that when you asked for it? Didn't you ask for it for your other child, didn't you, or something? Or
yes, well, I had the alarm, the monitor for Stephen, and then say there's a bit of a pattern with me, because I'm not normal. I can't just have my kids all in one go, So
is there such a word anymore, Donna? Really? You know what I mean? I don't believe in that word anymore.
So I had Stephen, and then Stephen was 7 whenever Billy was born.
Right.
So there was that big gap, but I was still able to get the monitor then for Billy.
Yes.
Then Neil was born just under 2 years after Billy was born. So that was a bit of a shock to my system, having two kids so close together, for me anyway.
Mhm.
And then whenever I had Talia turned 7 there in September. And I had said to the consultant down in the Royal,
Yeah, this
you
is a
know,
consultant. I just want to
consultant,
highlight. I want
yeah,
to highlight this, folks. This is a consultant. Go on ahead, Donna.
this is the consultant in the Royal Hospital. And I had said to her, look, with my other babies, I have had this monitor. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. She hadn't a clue what I was talking about. And I
A
was like,
consultant.
yeah. I was like, but I've had it with with the 3 boys. I've had this,
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I contacted my health visitor.
Mhm.
I didn't know whether she was still going to be my health visitor whenever Talia was born, but thankfully she was. But I'd contacted her anyway, and I had said, look, I've been asking the doctors and my consultant about the monitor. And she says,
Mhm.
Donna, they're so hard to come by. She says, I will try my best for you. She says, but I cannot guarantee you that I'm going to be able to source one. And I was like, right, okay. So then, like, I was living on my nerves then, thinking, oh, for
Mhm.
fuck's sake, like, what's
I'm
going to
not going to get
happen?
one. So
But
she
she
got you
did
one.
get me one.
She get one. But do you think, Donna, is it because of the expense of these monitors? That's why there's not as many of them about now.
Yeah,
Because the thing about it is, this does happen a lot, as we know,
yeah.
but not everybody would be getting one. So you think there would be some sort of a supply of them there, or do they not think they're do they not think they're necessary? But for, as Carrie just said there, what I'm going to say, for someone in your situation, being what you've been through with Holly there, it's giving you. I don't want to go as far as say, well, it's giving you a bit of
Peace of mind.
release, peace of mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly what it was, because, you know, you could hear, because it does like
A tech. Mm-hmm.
every time the baby's breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, and like even, my daddy and my friends and all would have said to me, you don't need that on during the day. And I'm like, they fucking sleep during the day, they can still
Yeah,
fucking,
absolutely.
you know what I mean? But it was just, like, even if it wasn't for my health visitor, like, see, even whenever Stephen was born, now, obviously, the Lagan Valley knew the history.
Mm.
Holly was born in Lagan Valley. You know, there was still the same midwives that was there. All I got was, right, we're going to show you how to do CPR on a baby, because obviously doing CPR on a baby is different than an adult.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to show you how to do CPR. So it was literally them showing me how to do CPR for a minute. That was it. That's what I got. And if it wasn't for my health visitor, and she's actually the salt of the earth,
Mm-hmm.
I would never have known about that monitor. And I probably would have ended up having a fucking mental breakdown.
Yeah, yeah. So
Genuinely.
you decided. How long ago was this now we're talking about now, when you decided to try to do something about this to raise
Well,
awareness? Because
I
this is what
found
we're leading into.
I was actually in the paper twice,
Okay.
and I found one of them.
Oh, did you find one?
I found one, and this was in. Where did I put my glasses on?
Now, just in case anybody doesn't know, Donna actually approached the newspaper because Donna actually tried to raise awareness about this before, to try to, to stop this from being what we tried to do, to stop it from being
Yeah.
pushed under the carpet, to raise awareness, to get more help, to make more services and support available. And I don't think you really got anywhere, Donna, really,
No.
in the end, did you know?
Now, bear in mind, it's a bit tattered and torn. This is only one. This is
Mhm.
one article. I was in the Belfast Telegraph twice.
And
So this
when
was
was that? When was that?
this was the first one. This was in 2012
Okay. Okay.
was the first time. The next time was the year later.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been 2013.
And
And
you
nothing
feel
ever,
and you felt as if you got nowhere.
nothing, no, clearly I
So
didn't, you know.
when were you now after all this, going through all this, we'll bring Sans in here. When were you made aware, obviously, of the Sans? Shari, where did you hear about them about through time?
It was, I had seen, it was a post on Facebook, and it just randomly came up. And I think it was after doing the first Belfast Telegraph one, and I was contacted and asked, would I do another one?
Mhm.
And the lady that done it, she had lost the child
Mm.
as well. So we'd done that, and it was going into Stormont, and you know it was due to be spoke about in Stormont. And to be honest with you, Stuart, I don't think it ever was. You know, because
Yeah.
absolutely nothing come
I
from
think
it.
that's what many was saying, you know, about Anne Diamond and all campaigning and all, and there was very little done about it.
Yeah,
Kai said there earlier, just going to pick up the comment, the support out there for any child or pregnancy loss is still so little. The only support I got was with a molar pregnancy was on the Facebook group because it was quite a rare thing to happen anyway. Not having anyone to talk to must be so lonely. And then I said to you, I was telling Donnie yesterday, Sunday we were talking, was it Sunday?
yesterday. No, it was
About
yesterday.
yeah, because when we had Stephen here, I was telling Donna that the Sans Charity, not just the Sans Charity work along with the hospitals now, and are brought in, to help.
Hmm.
I don't really want to go into this because I think it's very personal, but you've got the option of the memory boxes there with all the little things about the footprints and you
But like I
know.
said to you, I would have loved
Mhm,
that.
mhm,
I
mhm,
I have fuck all. You know,
mhm, mhm.
nothing. It was right. She's dead. She's away with the coroner. Then she's in the coffin.
Look at your grandmother.
Do you know what I mean?
Didn't see the
Huh?
baby at all.
She wasn't. My granny
Desperate.
wasn't allowed to see her baby at all. And you're just sitting thinking, like, you know. And I can remember, see, for a long while after Holly had passed away, like girls that I'd went to school with, people that I'd known for years and years and years, you could see them crossing the street
I was just about to say this before
to
we
avoid
finish
you.
tonight. I was actually going to say this before we finish tonight. When this was going back just a wee bit, when this did happen, there was actually people hiding from you and stuff in the street,
Yeah,
wasn't there? I think it was partly, this is me as an onlooker, because they didn't know what to say to you.
yeah,
It was just an awkward situation. They didn't know what to say. But when you see someone who he's supposed to be a friend and you care about, and they're ignoring you, it does hurt. And that
yeah,
hurts as well,
100%. It was like they
It's
were walking.
awful. It's an awful, awful thing.
It
It's an
is,
awful
and
thing. It really is.
what makes it worse is people making it such a taboo, and it's not a taboo because, as I said earlier on, you walk around the cemetery, the amount of babies that are buried up there.
See, Stephen said, that's this guy, Stephen. He said, you see, because I said, Stephen, when we brought him in that night, I says, there's a lot of people didn't come in to the group tonight because they felt it was too sensitive. He says, well, this is the problem.
Yeah,
He
100%.
says, it is a sensitive issue. He says, sure, but it happens.
Yeah,
And while it happens, it needs to be talked about. And as I told you before, Sans also give support to do certain things for the dads as well. And we're talking
yeah,
about the football team, because when they're in the changing rooms to talk, when they're playing darts to talk, they do. And then also now, as far as I know, there is support groups actually starting very soon in the Lisburn area, because Sans is being stayed at Portadown. just to let you know, folks, if anybody wants to know more about SANS, just go to their website. And as you know at the moment, I'll tell you about what we're doing in a minute. But Donna, I just want to say to you, I want to say thank you for coming to share, because people need to hear what it was like then. And you know something, even though SANS is
Still like
there,
it now.
even though SANS, sorry, hit the maker, even though SANS is there helping everybody what they can, there's still a lot of people who are suffering in silence there
Yeah.
who are still brushing this under the carpet, and they're grieving every day, and they're getting no release, and they're getting no help. You know, things need to change. Things need to change. I can't imagine what you went through. I've never had any children, but I'm just saying if it happened even
I
to
can
a
give you a
member of
couple.
my... No, you're all right there. I'm not very good. I'm not very good with children, no. But I just can't imagine even a member of my family losing a child, because, as you said, it just doesn't affect the mum, the dad. It affects the whole family.
The whole family. Like, for
You
me,
know?
well, you know, you knew my daddy. My daddy
Mhm.
was never the same again
No.
after Holly had died. But it made me angry sometimes, because I was like, hold on a wee second. You tell me that I have to, you know, just suck it up and get on with it, basically.
Yeah, but you can't.
You're not.
This
But
is
what
the
my daddy
problem.
said to me was, my daddy's words to me was, I've had to watch my baby losing her baby. He says, but I'm losing my baby right in front of my eyes, and there's nothing that I can do about it. You know,
Unbelievable.
and I'm
If
sure
you
my mummy and all felt the same, you know, like, no, but you don't know what to do, you know,
And
and especially like my brother.
G said everybody's on eggshells, and they don't
Yeah,
know what to say, and they don't know what to do. I have a lot of stuff here to read out. What Carrie said about Carrie says, it's awful when people avoid you.
mhm,
I know it's because they don't know what to say, but as a parent suffering loss who wants someone to speak about their baby, because your baby existed and was loved, and Emma's replies that saying 1,000%, even if they don't know what to say, even be a shoulder for that person to chat and cry.
yeah.
Carrie says, thank you for sharing your story tonight, Donna. My heart is broke for you. You're such a strong woman. Sam says, thanks, Donna, for sharing this heartbreaking subject. And Emma says, thank you so much, Donna, for sharing this tonight. Really touched my heart. And everybody's just chittering away. But I'm just going to say, Donna, you say you don't realize, sometimes you don't realize who is going through this. And
Yeah.
see, every time this subject comes up, because obviously this is the second time we have highlighted it tonight, I have actually been made more aware, even people in this group who I didn't even know have been affected with it.
Yeah.
You know,
It is. It's,
again, because it's pushed under the, you know, it's kept quiet. You know, Jackie McFarlane saying thank you as well. You know, as I say, this is the second time,
yeah.
and I've actually been made aware of another 3 people now who's been affected by this. Who's been in this group for a while, and I didn't even know. So there
But
you
listen,
go.
like I said to you, you know, the reason I approached you was because if me telling Holly's story
Mm-hmm.
helps even one person,
Mm-hmm.
do
And
you know what I mean?
my partner Lee's just come in there, and he says it happened to Lee's brother and his niece, and his wife, his niece. She died caught death as well,
Yeah.
Francesca. And Emma says myself, and Emma says myself went through a loss. It's just awful. Well, Donna, I just want to thank you so much.
You're very
And you
welcome.
know something, even though you got no help, you're helping others today, even doing what you did tonight, sharing your story.
Yeah.
It might sound strange, but that's a wee bit of help for you as well, because you're sharing,
It
you
is
know, and
100%. And
and you're
I
raising
just want to let
awareness.
everyone know as well.
Mhm.
Obviously, Stuart, you're doing the
Yes,
toy
go
donation
ahead.
thing.
Yes, I am indeed. Yeah.
And I'm the manager of the Garvey in Warren
Yes.
Garden, and we will gladly take any toy donations
Yeah.
to help
Yeah.
raise funds for SANS.
Yeah. You're doing something yourself. Go ahead. Tell me about that. Before we
I'm
finish.
doing a 50k. You have to walk 50k, which is, I googled it, 31 point something miles that I have to walk in the month of December. Now, anyone that knows me, I'm in my car. My shop's up the street, but I'm doing 50k in December to raise money for SANS as well. And Stuart has drop-off points at Eurowilds beside
Yes,
the
that's
bar.
right. Yes, that's right.
Woodsides.
I'll actually do that before I go, just to remind everybody. It's right. Okay, folks. The appeal is still running here, and I'm going to be quite honest with you. It's not going very well at the moment. I'm going to be honestly truthful with you. There's very little.
And we're hoping the people of Lisburn will step up.
Yeah, because it's been. I actually had a phone ring today, and it's been very, very quiet. So I'm really starting to worry here a wee bit.
Yeah.
So once again, folks, if you have a donation, we do not dictate to you what you donate. The only thing I can say is, if it's a soft toy, it must be the British Standard Safety. That's it. You can donate a toy as long as it's in new condition. And the drop-off points are Eurospar in Wallace Village, Eurooil Warren Gardens, or if you copy it in there, just drop it in the Ardana in the Garvey, which is next door, Woodsides Market Square, and David Honeyford's MLA office as well. If you can't do that, folks, once again, just bear with me for a minute. If you can't make a physical donation, what you can do, you can send a voucher, like an Amazon voucher or something, to the.chatterhouse55@gmail.com, and we will purchase a toy for you. In the last resort, we will take a cash donation, but we prefer to have a toy. So if you can help, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated.
And can I just show you all Holly before you go?
You can indeed. Quick. This was Holly, folks. This is Holly. So,
she's just one of the many, many, many children that we're doing this for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely. I just couldn't imagine. I just
there's
can't
no
imagine.
footprint too small that'll not leave an imprint in this earth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Donna, once again, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, Sam, I read out Woodsides is, you can go to Woodsides, you can go to the MLA officer opposite the front of the mall. You can go to Eurooil in Warren Gardens, and you can also go to Eurospar up here in Wallace Village, or you can send in a voucher. It's entirely up to yourself. Well, Donna, once again, thanks very much for joining me tonight. Can you just stay for 2 minutes after I finish here, and I'll talk to you in a minute? Well, listen, folks, thanks very much for coming in tonight. We will be back next week, next Tuesday night, and we're actually doing part 2 of our Christmas past and present, because the last one was very, very popular. So we're actually doing part 2 next week. Well, Donna, once again, thanks very much. All users out there, I'll see you all soon. Look after yourselves, and good night.